Hi, this is Terry from Toddler Speech Boost. Are you afraid your toddler may have a speech delay but you're not quite sure? If so, watch this quick little video and I'm going to go over the language development milestones that are recommended for the average toddler in various age brackets, and you could assess whether you think there's a concern or not and whether you should get medical help or take some kind of action, or whether you think you're probably okay. So in this video is a quick overview. I'm going to help you try to assess whether your child has a speech delay. So you might be concerned right now if they're not saying very many words or there's an issue with how they're saying things. You're wondering, do they have a problem? One of the core things I'm going to focus on in each of these sections is how much should they be saying. I want to give you some advice here though for each of these categories at 12 months, 18 months, 2 years, and 3 years. These are the number of recommended words the average child will be able to say at those ages. Don't panic if your child is not getting it exact. If they're a little bit under, that's not necessarily a big deal. What you want to do is also look at all the other milestones that they're hitting, try to get a sense overall if there's a problem. Certainly if they're really far off their milestone, especially at the older ages when they should have a lot more words, that could be more concerning. But if, say, they should be at 50 words and they're doing 45, you think, or 35, maybe not as worrisome. Maybe they're just a little behind the curve, so it may not be a big deal. At 12 months old, the typical child will say anywhere between 1 and 2 words, maybe 0, but maybe trying to mouth some words. So this early on, it's kind of hard to tell if they're going to have a speech delay just from the words alone, because there's so few they would say at this point. So you really can't take that on its own necessarily. You want to see if they're using their voice and how they use that to relate their environment. They could be making sounds when they see a specific object or making noises when they want something to eat or something like that. So they want to use their voice for their environment somehow. They might string some words together. Maybe they will be saying a word like mama or dada, obviously be very simple words, or it could be another sound, and it's a sound they're using consistently to mean something, even though they may not be pronouncing the word properly or anywhere near proper. If there's consistency to it, that's not a bad thing. They'll be attentive to sounds that you make and to sounds that they hear, and they hear things and they're looking around, and sounds will get their attention. They'll recognize names of common objects that you're using. So if you'll maybe say, water bottle or milk bottle, whatever it might be, and they recognize what that is or can, point to it, that's a good thing as well. And they're going to react to sounds and watch intently. They should be very interested in hearing what you have to say, hearing different sounds in the environment. At 18 months old, the words should have developed a lot more. They should be at 10 to 15 words, maybe a few less, but they should be saying things a little more clarity. Again, they're not going to be pronouncing things that well. They're going to have some issues with some of their sounds and haven't developed all of them yet, but they should have in the 10 to 15 range of words or consistent sounds they're making for different things, milk or mama, dada, or simple things like that. Outside of that, they may start asking simple "what's this" questions. They're going to be more curious at this age and trying to learn more and absorb more. They're going to be able to pretend play, like feeding dolls, or doing some other play activities, which is pretending like real life activities. They'll be able to identify body parts. So if you say simple things like, where's your head or where's your nose, they may not be able to say it, but if they could touch their head or touch their nose, that's a good sign. And they will understand what the word no means. They may not like it, but they should know what you're saying when you say no. And they should be able to follow very simple one-step instructions, like put the doll down or come here, very simple things like that. At 2 years old, their speech will have really developed, hopefully. They should be saying about 50 words, and while that's a lot of words for you to figure out if they said that much, at this age you may want to start actually keeping a little list and tracking all the different words you've heard them say to get a sense if they're around the 50 words. Again, if they're a little lower, not a worry. Obviously, if they're a little above, that's a bonus. But say if they're like at 45, 40 words, and you could still see them progressing, week after week, probably not such a big concern. Some of the other things you need to look for is, are they asking 2-word questions like, where's daddy? Are they able to follow simple 2-step instructions? Could be something like, go to the front hall and get your hat. And if they run to the front hall and get their hat and come back, then, good, they've got a good idea of the instructions. They're starting to use 2-word phrases, and they'll give a toy when prompted. So if you say, give me the car, or give your sister the doll, or whatever it might be, that they'll be able to do that. And their vocabulary is increasing each month. At 3 years of age, they should be up around 500 words. Now that's a very big number to track. I have tried tracking this before in Microsoft Excel. Every time they say a word, I'd write it down, and at the end of the day, I'd add it to a spreadsheet. That way I could sort things, and when I find duplicates that I forgot they had said, I could delete them off and track how many words that they're saying. Not everybody could do that. I think you just have to get a sense of it and feel for how many words they're saying. Part of it is, and how a lot of the experts will do this, is they get a feel for how many words they're using in their vocabulary in a conversation over an hour, and that gives them a sense of how many words they have overall. So if you're going to go see a speech language pathologist, they'll be able to get an assessment, an idea of how many they're saying based on that. Other things to look out for is, are they using 3-word phrases? At this point, their sentences should be getting a little longer, and you do want to help them with that, but they should be able to say a 3-word phrase at a time. They should be really deep in the asking why questions at this point. They should be very curious, asking all the time, what's this for? Where daddy go? All that kind of stuff. Why mommy tall? Whatever crazy questions they might ask. They're going to understand who, what, where, why questions, so you could ask them different questions of those categories, and they'll be able to understand what you're saying and hopefully act on them or give some sort of response. And they'll play with other children. Usually this might start in the 2 but the 3 age. For sure they need to be playing with other children. They need to be social. If you're finding that they're not social and shying away playing from other children, that could be a bit of a concern. And they're going to start using articles like and the, and present progressive with ing, like walking in words. So if you start seeing that at this age, that's great. If not, could be an indicator of concerns. If you're missing a bunch of these items on the list, that would be a bigger indicator concern for you. So your question probably is now, what do I do next? What should I do? If your child has met all the milestones and you feel that they're on track with all the words and they're doing pretty much everything in those other milestones, you probably have a good sense that they're okay. There's probably no speech delay, so I wouldn't necessarily worry about it. If you did have a concern in your gut, even though they met all the milestones, bring it up at your child's next doctor appointment, but I don't think you need to do anything before then. If they've missed all their milestones, see your family doctor. If they're not saying the number of words they need to say and they're not able to do those other items on the checklist based on their age, there is some sort of underlying problem, whether it's minor, moderate, or a major problem. You certainly want to be on top of it right away, so book that appointment for as soon as you possibly can. If they're low on speech milestones and they're pretty good on all the other criteria, they still need to get some sort of intervention, because if they are low on speech, there are issues that could happen down the road if you don't intervene with speech delay early on. There's a lot of research out there on that, so definitely do something. Couple options you have is go see a speech language pathologist. So somebody who's trained in speech language pathology is an expert in diagnosing speech delays and speech problems and the various problems that could cause speech problems, and can come up with a lot of different action plans for how you could address those speech problems. They're a great resource to go to. Some areas it's covered under your government health care, or it might be under your insurance plan, or you just may have to pay, depending where you live. You could go see your family doctor. It's probably a good idea too to let them know. Do an appointment earlier, or do it in the next coming appointment if it's coming up soon, but let them know what's going on. They'll probably refer you to a speech language pathologist anyway, so that's a good thing. And the third option, you can go to our website, www.toddlerspeechboost.com. We have some information there that could help you learn more about what you could do. And if you're interested in starting right away and learning a lot of the techniques that you're going to get from a speech language pathologist and more, we have that course available to help people with that. So you can go check that out. Finally, there's something you could do for me. Hopefully this information was useful for you. So if you could hit the like button on this video on YouTube, that'll really help me out. I'll appreciate that. And in fact, if you think other people could help this, I recommend you hit that share button, and you could share it on your social media platform, Twitter, Facebook, wherever it may be, Snapchat. Send it off to people who have kids of these age brackets who may have a concern or who may just want to know this. I also recommend, if you want to subscribe to this channel, I'll be putting out more videos with games and other techniques for you to help your child with their speech. And because I do plan to release more videos weekly, hit the bell notification icon near that subscribe button so that as soon as I send out a video, you'll get notified and you can go check out that video right away. And hopefully that'll help you with your child develop their speech. If you want to know more about my website, again, down below, you can go to www.toddlerspeechboost.com, and hopefully that'll help you out.